Hello there, and welcome back to the Midland Earth channel and to another episode of Countdown to Doomsday. Joining me today, we've got Matt, and we've both, over the course of the last week, watched the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Incredible Hulk. So we're going to give our thoughts and opinions on that. Overall plot points. Once again, obviously, this film serves as the origin story to Bruce Banner and his big green rage monster. You get a nice sort of... They do it as a montage, don't they, Matt? So at the very beginning, during the opening credits, you sort of see how he becomes the monster, or the Hulk, through the opening credits. And then as soon as you sort of jump into the film, he already is sort of struggling with his alter ego. Obviously, most of the film is obviously him being hunted down by Thunderbolt Ross and the US military, because Ross wants to capture him, use his blood to help, because he thinks it's going to be the final step in finalising the updated super soldier serum. Obviously uses Emil Blonsky as one of his men to go get Bruce Banner. He takes a bit of the formula, goes a bit mad, then takes a bit more later on in the film, and becomes the Abomination. And then they have a bit of a showdown in New York. It's a bit of a globe-trotting film as well, isn't it? Because it's set in quite a few different places around the world. So what do you think overall about the plot?
And it also follows the good old Marvel trope of I have to fight a version of myself in my first film.
Yes, it does. Because obviously, yeah, Iron Man goes up against Ironmonger, so Hulk goes up against Abomination, which is...
Abomination.
Yes, yeah, very good. Actually, yeah. I didn't really think about that. That's actually a very good point for Phase 1.
And I suppose
we'll mention in the other films, Thor is obviously against Loki.
Thor kind of goes against Loki, which is kind of an evil version of him, kind of.
And Captain America against Red Skull, which is the same. So yeah, that's actually a nice observation. I didn't pick up on that actually. Very, very, very good.
Yeah, they like that. They've kind of got away from that now. Kind of, I suppose.
Yeah, because obviously we'll go into the other films and obviously other videos and whatnot. But yeah, they sort of moved away from that But in Phase 1, I didn't actually notice that pattern, so it's quite good that.
Yeah, I did enjoy it overall. To be fair, I watched it this morning, and it was good. There's lots of things I liked about it. To be fair, but we'll go through them one at a time.
Yeah. What do you think? So about the plot, sort of not too bad for an origin story, is it?
Yeah, it's good. It's different to usual ones. It's not like this whole film was about how he becomes the Hulk. It's like he already is and is dealing with something, and he essentially, I like that the whole blood thing is kind of played like. It's kind of like he's got a disease or something, isn't it? You know what I mean? Where he can't, people can't touch his blood, and his blood's dangerous, and it's kind of like, it's interesting how they play it like that. How he kind of wants to get rid of it the whole time, but then I think the idea in the end that is he learns to control it. Maybe I think that's what's implied by
towards the end, yeah. Because throughout the sort of thing, obviously he's, as you mentioned, when he's sort of in that first opening interaction where he's in the bottling plant in Brazil by the looks of it. Obviously he's very cautious about the fact that his blood gets spilled and whatnot, and he's doing breathing training and whatnot and meditation training with someone, and then he has the heart monitor watch. So yeah, he's very much trying to cure the ailment that he's got, because that's very much sort of the back and forth that he has in the emails, and then when he realises it's probably not something that he's going to be able to cure, it's can I control it through his breathing and his heart rate and things like that.
Kind of like that the whole thing was like a chase film, wasn't it? Like it was just they're hunting him and he's trying
to catch me if you can type thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Marvel Jason Bourne. It's like on the run constantly from the government kind of thing. It's quite good, but
it's been a long time since I've watched it.
Yeah, me too.
It is better than what I remember it being. What do you think, score wise, for the plot then? It's not bad.
I don't know.
It's not the best,
as far as Marvel goes, it was quite original. You don't get many Marvel films like that, I suppose. A 3 maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Was sort of average in the middle of the road, isn't it?
It kind of drops into usual Marvel stuff at the end. Like big fight up, lots of explosions, beat the bad guy,
Yeah.
win the day. Ooh. Yeah.
But they sort of delve more into a bit more, like you say, it's not just, oh, he's angry and let's go smash things up. It's more a story about how he is, as you've said, he's sort of on the run because the government
I like
wants
how
to use him. And it's,
I like how the Hulk's not even in it for like the first like half an hour or so. I think is it
Yeah.
at least. It's just about him and like building up the character, and it's kind of like a little bit of a character study type thing.
Yeah.
But
well, in terms of
good.
the characters, obviously Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk, is played by Edward Norton for this one outing before he gets recast. How do you find Edward Norton in the role? I actually thought he was quite good. He plays. I think he plays Bruce Banner differently to obviously what we're used to with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I think they both kind of go for the more like timid guy, don't they? But they do it like kind of differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I think.
Yeah, I did like Edward. I did like Edward Norton. To be fair, I thought it was pretty good.
I think you get more of Banner's fear of being the Hulk through Edward Norton more than what you probably do with Mark Ruffalo. I think the way he plays it is he's very much afraid of what he can become.
But I suppose by that point is the idea that like he's kind of got used to
whereas,
the Hulk when he's Mark Ruffalo, you know what I mean? Because he's kind of like he's got more like of a confidence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when Black Widow comes to see him and stuff, it's kind of like if this goes that way, then you're not gonna have a good time, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like he's not like scared of it now. He's more like embraced it.
Whereas in this, he's very much living in fear of what would happen when he becomes the Hulk. And I think Norton sort of portrays that fear a lot more. Like you say, and obviously he's developed a bit more, but I think he plays that role really well. It does help as well. When I was doing a bit of research as well, apparently he is a big Incredible Hulk fan. So he had a lot to do.
Edward Norton?
Yeah, he had a lot to do with sort of the writing for the character and stuff like that. And I think that sort of comes across when you realise that he's a big Incredible Hulk fan. It sort of comes across with the way that he's playing the role.
Yeah, because I think this is more like the TV show, isn't it?
From the 70s.
Like the comics,
yeah.
You know, like where he does like the thumb out thing, like walking down the street, and they have the music, like they have all the like little like incredible, and Lou Ferrigno's in it.
Yep. Yeah.
Who was the actual Hulk, which was good and stuff like that. And they have the big purple pants and thing like that. Lots of funny like little Hulk jokes. So yeah, I did like it.
And then obviously,
I think he is a lot more like the TV version, I think.
Yeah. And then we've got obviously Betty Ross, played by Liv Tyler, who's obviously Bruce's love interest in this film. Up until a couple of years ago, she would have been just sort of a one film and gone. But obviously, the character does eventually return after nearly 20 years, when they do finally bring the character back in one of the later Captain America.
And there's a lot of things that have come. This film's become more significant now
than what it was at the time.
Yeah. So
what did you think of Liv Tyler playing Betty Ross? She brings across her usual sort of. She's very soft spoken throughout most, even when she's like angry and annoyed and she's like yelling at her father. She's not yelling; she's just saying it really, really quietly. But you can feel the rage, the hatred.
Yeah, she's
just through her soft spoken words.
She's a strange kind of actress, Liv Tyler. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought there was some good chemistry between her and Edward Norton.
Yeah, I think this is one of the only Marvel films that actually has like sexual, like an actual relationship. You know what I mean? Like they have feelings for each other, and you can see like in their interactions that they like love each other. You know what I mean? And like care for each other, and there's like passion in the relationship and stuff, which was nice because that kind of like dies after a few like Marvel films really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you never really see until like kind of Eternals and Spider-Man and stuff that he comes back in a little bit. Like MJ and Peter kind of have like a nice relationship, and there's like relationships in Eternals and things. And but up until that point, there was like no proper relationships in like I know like there's Tony and Pepper, but I don't think their chemistry was ever that good, really, was it?
This is definitely sort of better chemistry between two characters that are supposed to be like you say, attractive, in love to each other than what Tony and Pepper is. I completely agree on that.
Yeah, because like you can see, like when she first sees him, like she literally like runs, like leaves the building to like try and like run after him and stuff. So you can see, I like that the relationship's really built on. And like when he carries her off after the helicopter thing blows up, like they just sit in the cave in the rain, like talking, and like she kind of like calms him down and stuff, and it's quite nice.
She calms him down pretty much straight away, whereas obviously we see later in like phase 2 and whatnot, like as you mentioned with Black Widow, she does the same thing, but that's clearly something that has had the characters within the MCU, they've had to work on that.
Yeah.
Whereas Betty does that pretty much straight away. The way that they've played that, and again, that might be because, again, Edward Norton, with him being such a big fan of the Hulk, he's sort of, that might be some input that he's had into the character relationship between the two, because he may know that sort of thing from the comics.
I do think the Hulk that we get with Mark Ruffalo is more like out of control to start off with, isn't he? Like this one seems a lot more subdued, the Hulk. Like he only really gets angry when he's like fighting, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't immediately start smashing stuff up, you know, like the other Hulk does.
Yeah.
But it is our first introduction to
Thunderbolt Ross.
Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross as well.
The main antagonist, played by William Hurt.
I did like him, to be fair. He did do a lot of this though.
Yeah.
Just staring at the destruction of the Hulk. Like he did it a lot. Like
hell bent on obviously capturing Bruce Banner for his super soldier program.
And then he's always horrified by the destruction.
Yeah, spend most of his time like in shock as to what the Hulk can actually do.
Remember that.
Well, I think William Hurt does it quite well though, because he's playing the role of someone that's quite calculating, quite ruthless to get what he wants. Barely shows any concern. And he's not really bothered about collateral damage. It's just like, right, we're going to capture the Hulk on a university campus. We've not evacuated said university campus. I don't care what happens. I don't care if these soldiers get crushed, slammed about, whatever. The only time he ever shows any sort of concern is when it comes to his daughter, and it's a very small sliver of concern as well.
Yeah, even like a boyfriend's like, he was trying to protect you, you nearly killed her. And he was like, shut up.
Yeah. But yeah, again.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's a character that obviously becomes more reoccurring sort of through phase 2 and obviously late after that, so it plays as a good sort of introduction film to this particular character of Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah, I think William Hurt does a really good job, and he does even in subsequent films. I think they've cast him really quite well. Last two sort of main characters that we see, obviously you've got Emil Blonsky / Abomination by Tim Roth,
who gets a lot of the cheesy lines.
Yes he does. It's almost like he's a mishmash sort of between a main Bond villain in terms of, like you say, the cheesy lines that he would deliver, but being delivered by the Bond henchman, and they've sort of merged the two together for most of the film, and then until he gets all tanked up on the super soldier serum and becomes the Abomination. Do you think he was a good casting for the role?
I mean, he was enjoyable. He's an enjoyable villain. And it's quite funny how he just started smashing stuff up when he was the Abomination there.
Well, at the end of the film.
Yeah, he was just like throwing people around and chucking cars and like smashing buildings. I was like, why did you just turn into a psychopath?
Is that the character maybe trying to understand its own strength, maybe? Like he's witnessed obviously what the Hulk can do firsthand, especially when he got kicked in the chest.
Is that all you got?
Flying into a tree, but is it sort of him maybe exploring his level of powers,
maybe
type thing, perhaps, or just
I wonder
if it just drove him mad and he just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go smash up Harlem.
Yeah, he could talk a lot more than the Hulk could as well.
Sort of kept his.
I think that's
a bit more of his.
I think that's because of the other stuff that he had in him. To be fair, but yeah.
And then obviously there's Samuel Stern, who helps make him into the Abomination. Tim Blake Nelson only has a small role, really. All of about 10 minutes towards the end of the film.
He's good in it, then, to be fair.
Yeah, but he very much plays the character as sort of very eager scientist that can't wait to test out his theories and whatnot. And again, he just sort of doesn't particularly care about the outcome or the consequences of what he's doing.
Mad scientist.
Yeah, plays it quite well, and then obviously he gets a bump on the head, gets a bit of Bruce Banner's blood in his head, and you get that nice little popping to indicate that he's going to become the leader later down the line. Yeah, like you've said, actually, when you look at the characters, obviously the Hulk is a recurring character through the MCU, but the other four main characters in this film, when you originally sat down and watched it 18 years ago, you probably thought, you're never going to see them again, they're done. But through varying different ways, they've all reappeared. What do you think of the casting overall then? Do you think it was actually a relatively good cast, nicely assembled?
Yeah, I liked it.
Any weak members there that you probably would have changed? Obviously, we know Mark Ruffalo gets changed. Edward Norton gets changed anyway, but that's for other reasons. But you didn't seem convinced by Liv Tyler.
No, yeah, I don't know. I've not really seen her in much, to be fair, but I don't know. She just seems a bit.
What do you mean you've not seen her in much? She's been in Lord of the Rings films. She's been in Armageddon. She's been in several Aerosmith music videos.
I think there's better Marvel love interests.
Okay.
Personally,
So,
I mean, I like Tim Roth, and I like William Hurt, and I like Edward Norton was okay.
so
I don't know, what would I give it score-wise?
3.5, 4. I was probably going to say probably a 4 because I thought that overall they were quite well cast.
Okay.
Personally,
We'll stick with that. We'll stick with that then.
yeah. What did you think to the score for the film? So when you look back on Iron Man, obviously there's a mix for Iron Man. There's a score, and then there's obviously some nice needle drops. Whereas this is just purely a score. The score itself was done by a composer called Craig Armstrong. I'm not overly familiar with him.
From what I remember of the music, it was all right. I'm not great with music sometimes. Sometimes it just goes out my head and I can't think of it again. You know what I mean? The only bit that I really picked up on was the old theme tune of the TV show. Okay. That's the only bit I remembered. What about you? Anything that stood out?
I don't think it was too bad of a score. I think the way that he's composed the music helps to portray the tone of the film, which, like you say, it's very much a sort of on the run, catch me if you can kind of thing. You kind of, whenever there was sequences with him being sort of chased by the military or whatnot, they've had that quite quick paced music to help indicate that this is like an intense chase sequence, and then they mixed it quite well with some romantic music whenever obviously Bruce and Betty were on screen together. I think that kind of worked rather well.
Good old melodrama music.
Yeah, but one thing I noticed was, I think this is the same as certainly with Iron Man 1, was that there's no sort of specific theme which ties into the actual Hulk himself. Whereas obviously other films, each character sort of gets a theme that will sort of carry through to the other films. Again, there's nothing really specific for the Hulk. But yeah, like you say, it's not really a memorable score. Really,
no.
It does the job, but.
I mean, what would you give it?
I was
2.5.
thinking myself around 2.5. Yeah, because it does a job, but there's nothing really particularly memorable about it. What did you think to the effects? Because obviously Hulk and Abomination are it's all CGI. It's motion capture. When I was looking at some of the research, so the fight scenes at the end between Hulk and Abomination was done through mocap. Between Edward Norton and Tim Roth.
Really?
Yeah. So they did motion capture for that. So
in that case, it was pretty good then. I mean, for the times, it was good, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I like all the little details, like they're in the cave and you can see all the little like cuts on him and they're all like glowing with like radiation and stuff. They were quite cool, and his eyes and stuff, how they're like super green.
Yeah.
And, like, I quite liked. And all the transformations were quite cool as well. Like, you know, when he's on the table and he was all like
and you see,
changing and then
because of the weight change. I liked
and then he goes back. That's quite cool.
I liked how the way that they've paralleled it. So the opening when he first transforms into the Hulk when they're in the bottling plant, they sort of tease it, so you sort of see him silhouetted, or you just see glimpses of the Hulk until the very end when like Tim Roth's looking at him through the sights of his rifle. That's when you finally sort of see the Hulk for the first time. And then they do the same at the end with Abomination. You don't sort of see him as Abomination straight away. You again see when he's transforming, it's just like little bits. It's like how his spine sort of pokes out through the skin, or you don't just go right bang, he's transformed, this is the creature. They tease it as he's going through those opening sort of shots of him smashing up Harlem, and then you first sort of get a proper glimpse of him after the Hulk's arrived. So they sort of parallel how they introduce each character quite well within the film. They match each other up. I thought that was quite good. I imagine they probably used as much of the practical effects in there as they can, I suppose. I imagine that on that campus scene where the military's sort of there with all their vans and whatnot, there's probably quite a lot of practical effects there, sort of in that middle chase sequence.
Lots of explosions and tanks and stuff
then
like that.
it just gets CGI'd up at the very end of the film when they had to, really. It was because of the characters. What did you think of the design for them both? I'll admit, I'm not overly fond of the way that Hulk looks in this film, but that might be because I'm used to seeing Mark Ruffalo's version of the Hulk.
I think he's a lot like smaller, isn't he? He's more like believable as, oh yeah, that man could turn into that. Like, you know what I mean? Like the proportions are more realistic. But and he's kind of a weird colour as well. He's like a muted green, which is a bit odd. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know why it's so muted. But
this Edward Norton's version of the Hulk is apparently based upon the drawings of Dale Keown. So his Hulk in the comics was very much like you sort of, as you just described, as you can't see a lot of the zero fat on the body. It's very chiseled and defined muscular wise to make him look like he's like basically a human tank. Yeah. Whereas I suppose Ruffalo's Hulk's definitely not like that. He's a bit more. Obviously, you can tell that there's muscle and there's physical strength there, but he's not chiseled and defined like this version of the Hulk is. Maybe it would have been different. Maybe I would have preferred this if he maybe had a bit more. If he carried on that sort of design. Because certainly in the face when he transformed, if you were to just look at a screenshot of the Hulk when he's transformed in this film, you can't really tell that it's Edward Norton, can you?
No.
Whereas with Mark Ruffalo's, you can tell it's him.
And you can hear Mark Ruffalo's voice a lot more in the Hulk as well when he talks. I think when he's like, but you can hear like Mark Ruffalo's voice coming through it more. I think.
Well, cool. It's Lou Ferrigno doing the voice for the Hulk in this film. So,
is it actually?
Yeah. So he has this is obviously one of the little Easter eggs that we're just going to bring up in a bit. He has a cameo of obviously as that security guard when he offers him the pizza, but then he's still doing the voice for the Hulk when he's transformed.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Whereas,
that's funny.
Like you say, once the recast has been done, it's Mark Ruffalo doing everything. Yeah. I mean, let's quickly give the effects a score, and then we'll move on to the Easter eggs now, as we've discussed two of them already.
Effects. I mean, for the time, if you're going off then, I'd say it's what, like a 3-ish, maybe?
3.5, because, like I say, mocap. We were using the mocap for the end fight scene, certainly. So, okay, then the Easter eggs, obviously, we've mentioned, obviously, the actor that played the Hulk from the 1970s TV show, doing the voice, and obviously being the security guard. You get some nice Easter eggs in the opening sequence, referencing, obviously, Stark Industries. You get
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. again gets mentioned. Obviously, the hypersonic sound things that are on the top of the tanks, you see the blueprints for them with the Stark logo on it during the opening sequence, and obviously that's the technology that's then used to combat the Hulk. Stan Lee's cameo, obviously he's the guy that drinks the little green bottle of juice with the Hulk's blood in it, and he drops it and
Milwaukee. The man drank one of those Guarana sodas. Guess it had a little more kick than he was looking for.
Wow.
One of the other little Easter eggs I spotted was at the very end, sort of during that, just after the fight, There's a helicopter, and it shines a spotlight on him. Kind of makes the Hulk look more grey instead of green, which is, I believe, was like sort of one of the original colours for the Hulk during it's a very early comic run form. He wasn't green straight away; he was grey.
Yeah, I think he was grey straight
away. Nice little
start.
Nice little nod there to obviously it's his original run. But are you happy with the Easter eggs that were in there? Anything that you think they missed out on, or?
No, it was good. It was good. I mean, I think there's probably more in this Marvel film than some of the others, to be fair. There's quite a lot of little nuggets. Quite nice. To say, like, Marvel Studios wasn't even, like, established at that point.
Yeah, it's true. So what do you think? Score for Easter eggs? 3? 4?
Yeah. Seems about average, I think. 3.
And then obviously if we look at the sort of some of the stuff that they use for the source material then, from the source material I should say, we get a change obviously in design for Abomination when he returns later into the franchise, but obviously to make him look more like he is in the comic book. So in this, his design's not very much like it is, because he's more sort of reptilian and scaly. Like they give him the pointy sort of little elf ears, and you see the scales on his skin when he returns in She-Hulk. So I don't think they were really looking at his. They were probably going for a bit more of an original design, weren't they, for his look in this? They changed quite a bit from what in terms of the research that I've done. They changed quite a bit. So his origin is actually a mix. So in the Ultimate Comics, he's experimenting with the super soldier serum, which is how he becomes the Hulk in sort of the Ultimate Comic line, and then they've blended that with the fact that he then gets gamma radiation exposure, which I think, from what I saw originally, was something that came from the 1970s TV show. And then I think they then later obviously added that to other sort of comic book side of it. So for the origin of the Hulk in this film, they've mixed sort of two different levels of comic book lore to give him that. Same with Blonsky as well. So in this film, he's just sort of mentioned as being a Russian-born but yet English soldier.
Yeah.
Whereas in the comics, he's actually a KGB agent. So I'm guessing when they originally introduced him, it would have been sort of obviously it would have been the height of the Cold War, and the Russians or the Ivans, whatever you want to call them.
The Ivans?
Yeah, it's how William Butcher in The Boys refers to them.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing a bit of the Boys rewatch in the house, and just got to the point where they've travelled to Russia, and he calls them the Ivans. But yeah, so he's a KGB agent in the comic book. So again, they've changed his background to the film. I suppose it makes it a bit more relevant that he's just sort of a special forces soldier for when it came out, because 2008, can't imagine that the KGB was quite relevant in the public eye at that point. And then the other thing that I found out, again, it's another change that they make to a character, is that Betty Ross wasn't originally written as a scientist or co-worker of Banner in the comics. She's just like a civilian that happens to be his love interest. It was actually the 2003... Was that Eric Banner's Hulk?
God, was that 2003, the Eric Banner one?
Yeah.
Flipping heck.
And apparently...
That's old.
Because of that film...
2003.
So it was in that film that Betty Ross was seen as sort of a co-worker and a scientist. So then that was rewritten into the comic books because of that. And then obviously it was then used
Makes me laugh how much the films affect the comics. It's quite funny. Like they're so like easily influenced.
Yeah. But yeah, that's sort of the main talking points of the comic book lore that I've seen for this film that stand out. And they made quite a lot of changes then from the original source material. But on the flip side, as you just mentioned, the source material has obviously taken on some stuff that the films have done. Again, I think that's probably a bit more of a middle of the road. It's a bit average. 2.5. They've not quite used much of the source material, have they?
Suppose not.
Maybe even a 2. Obviously, post-credit, and it's not actually a post-credit scene, it's just the last credit. It's just the last scene before the credits, isn't it? When Thunderbolt Ross is just sat in his bar, drinking, sad. And Tony Stark appears, mocks him a bit about his super soldier serum, saying how he prefers technology, and then hints at the Avengers. Just says he's putting together a team, doesn't he? Which is odd as to why he'd approach Thunderbolt Ross. Or do you think they're using that as Stark trying to get some info about the Hulk? Do you think Stark's really looking to get the Hulk involved, or is it just... Or do you think they just put that in there to try and just tie them together?
I'm trying to think, what did they bring the Hulk... Oh, they bring the Hulk in because of the radiation from the cube, don't they, in the Avengers? So is that implying that was how Stark got to Banner? Maybe, I don't know. Or I don't know. Maybe
it's the one sort of post-credit scene in Phase 1 that doesn't necessarily make sense. Certainly don't think it's the best post-credit scene, even though it's technically not a post-credit scene. It's just the final scene. I
suppose they weren't. It was only the second scene, extra bit scene that they'd ever done, really, wasn't it? I suppose so. They're still kind of tweaking them a little bit.
Was it that this one was filmed just before or during Iron Man? It was scheduled to be released before, but then it got pushed back. So maybe that scene was meant to tease. If this was supposed to come out first, maybe that was meant to just actually tease Tony Stark.
Maybe.
But he then got pushed back to after Iron Man for whatever reason.
I feel that does vaguely ring a bell, I think. Yeah, overall.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
And then the last bit is how it sort of ties in, because as you touched upon early on, this film's actually become quite relevant in recent years and ties in quite a lot to other films that have come from it. So obviously it mentions the super soldier serum, which links to Captain America. Samuel Stearns comes back as the leader, being the villain in Brave New World. Thunderbolt Ross turns up in 4 or 5 films after this. It's quite prevalent during sort of Phase 2, Phase 3.
Constant antagonist.
Yeah. Obviously Abomination and Betty both return in varying projects. She-Hulk and Captain America Brave New World, which is pretty much just a sequel to this film.
I wonder if we'll ever actually see Mark Ruffalo and Liv Tyler together. If that'll ever happen.
Maybe. As we touched on earlier, obviously Betty calming the Hulk down is very much what Black Widow does. And I think we mentioned it in our Brave New World sort of review, didn't we, that Thunderbolt Ross pretty much knows instantly what his Hulk can do because he's all seen Bruce Banner doing it throughout all this. So he knows about the whole jumping long distances. He knows about the stupid thunderclap thing.
Stupid thunder.
So he just but I don't know what but yeah.
He's moving wind. Yeah. He's moving the air with his hands.
So
at mega speed.
They do quite well of this film has a lot of tie-ins to future stuff later down the line, doesn't it?
But yeah, I suppose I didn't realise that she's kind of used. In fact, no, she's not. Is she? She doesn't. It's not. Is it? Does Sam mention Betty? Is that what calms him down or something? I can't remember in Brave New World. It's not actually physically her, is it? That stops the Red Hulk. I don't think.
No, she doesn't appear until afterwards. So I think Sam mentions her to calm him down, and then she has that conversation with him over the phone, and then she just makes an appearance at the very end, doesn't she? In terms of the tie-in material then and the overall story arc for the franchise, do you think this one does quite well then? It sets up quite a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Obviously it just takes a long time for it to pay off, but it sets up a fair bit. So what do you think for sort of tie-in material or setups? Bit too high?
Yeah, we'll go 4, why not?
So, the average score then for The Incredible Hulk, based on what we've discussed, comes out at 2.66. Overall, obviously, out of the 2 films that we've reviewed so far, Incredible Hulk comes in second. So, 2 down.
75 to go.
Iron Man.
How many is there now? 30
something plus TV shows.
Oh, we're watching TV shows as well.
if we've got the time.
I don't think I can watch TV
If we've
shows.
got the time. Definitely the films, though. Definitely the films. So, yes.
Yes.
2.66 out of 5 for The Incredible Hulk, putting it in a nice second place so far.
Second out of 2.
Yep.
See how long it lasts there.
Next up, Iron Man 2. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.
Screen reviews coming soon as well. We watched it.
Yes, we did.
We'll bring you our thoughts.
It's goodbye
Coming
from
soon.
him.
It's goodbye from me. Wrong way around.
See you again.